Good day everyone, welcome to a new episode of Ningbo Flyer.
This video was filmed on the 2nd of April 2024, but due to my procrastination, I have only finished editing it. The travel experience may have changed since then. Apia Airport mainly relies on private vehicles to travel to and from the city. I booked a taxi in advance through my homestay. We agreed on the price at the outset, but it was the best not to raise the price at the last minute. I remember it cost me about $60 to get from the city centre to the airport. This is about the same as taking a taxi from Melbourne Airport to the southeast of Melbourne. The prices are really not friendly. Faleolo International Airport, located near Apia, may appear modest in size but boasts substantial capabilities. Constructed during the World War II and expanded in 1984, it now connects Samoa to cities like Auckland, Nadi, Honolulu, and Pago Pago. Apia International Airport is very small, with less than 10 check-in counters for international departures. QF198 to Brisbane was the only international departure flight that morning. Although the airport has free Wi-Fi, it is strictly limited in terms of data usage and you have to pay for more data after a certain amount. It was boring to arrive at the airport so early. I quickly completed the check-in procedures and prepared to go through security and immigration. The international departures area is located on the far right side of the terminal building. Upon entry, you must present your boarding pass, passport, and visa. The first step is security screening, which is very efficient with almost no one waiting in line. After security screening comes immigration control, which is quick and easy. You can also ask an immigration officer where to stamp your passport. After immigration, there's a staircase and escalator leading to the waiting area. Upon reaching the second floor, you will notice several small shops selling local souvenirs. Given the limited number of passengers, opening a duty-free shop here would not be a viable business venture. The international departures area at the airport was very small, with arriving and departing passengers on the same floor, separated by glass partitions. Additionally, there are still posters from the COVID-19 era visible inside the terminal building. There is a small lounge in a corner of the terminal building, and there is also a cafe nearby, but it is too early and it is not open yet. After the previous flight QF197 arriving from Brisbane, the passengers and crew disembarked. The aircraft was then cleaned and refueled, a new crew boarded and the passenger began boarding. The boarding bridge is a bit long, but you can't see the view outside. The flight was operated by the Qantas Boeing 737-800 with an age of less than 11 years at the time, registration number Victor Hotel, X-Ray Zulu Hotel. The aircraft has 12 business class cabins with a 2-2 layout and a 162 economy class seats with a 3-3 layout. The economy class on this 737-800 is relatively well equipped with a personal entertainment system throughout the cabin, although it is difficult to see the backlight and the USB port. The seat pitch is a standard 30 inches for a narrow-body aircraft. The small table can be lowered using a rotating button, but the range of its movement is limited to sliding forwards and backwards. It cannot be folded. The pockets behind the front seats contain plastic safety information cards, cleaning bags, and Qantas in-flight magazines. This entertainment system is touchscreen, but the sensitivity is, well, not good. It can also be controlled by the handle attached to the armrest of the seat, but this handle seems to be fixed and cannot be removed. Qantas released a new safety video titled My Magical Place earlier last year in 2024, demonstrating that the airline has always been creative. The flight was about half full with the rear section of the economy class almost empty. Farewell Samoa, a quiet, lesser visited nation in South Pacific that's incredibly visa-friendly. I had a smooth time here, the scenery is beautiful, and experiencing the slower pace of life was eye-opening. However, the cost of flights here is extremely high. Only award tickets make it remotely worthwhile. On the ground, prices are similar to those in Australia due to limited local production. Public transport is barely functional, and the international standard hotels are both scarce and expensive. I'm glad I visited once, but without a special reason, it is not a place I would rush to return to. Once we've reached the cruising altitude, let's take a look at the entertainment system. There is a lot of content available, but the system is outdated and the response is slow. Additionally, although the aircraft has in-flight Wi-Fi, it only has coverage over Australia. However, flights to and from the South Pacific usually fly through other countries, so Wi-Fi is unavailable. There are headphones provided in Qantas economy class as well. We took off right as I was wrapping up brekkie, and the flight attendant came around with a snack bag. I was sitting there and thinking, seriously, 5.5 hours and we're getting pre-packaged snacks? Took me straight back to the pandemic times when Chinese airlines were doing the same thing on international flights back home. Later on, I thought it might have been because Apia's catering setup wasn't good enough. I mean, it's a 5.5 hour flight after all. It makes you wonder if they loaded hot meals in Australia for the return flight, would they still have been within their expiry date by the time they were served? The whole thing seems a bit dodgy logistically. At first, I ordered a glass of apple juice, then I ordered a glass of Diet Coke. Let's go to the restroom for a toilet review. Considering the previous flight had just landed and the plane was about to depart again, the restroom was surprisingly clean overall. Of course, it's an economy class restroom, so it wouldn't be normal if it wasn't crowded. However, the economy class occupancy rate on the day was very low, and in the rear rows of economy class, one person could even occupy the row of 3 seats to sleep. It was still Easter holiday, so the flight attendants gave everyone a small chocolate egg. When the entertainment system starts playing this video, it means you're almost in Australia. The aircraft is about to land at Brisbane Airport. Let's take a quick look back at this medium to short haul international flight operated by Boeing 737-800. Apia Airport is quite far from the city centre and there are no ride-hailing services available. Travelling to the airport outside the daytime hours is both inconvenient and expensive. The airport terminal is compact but relatively new. Checking, security screening, and immigration procedures are efficient, allowing passengers to quickly reach the international departures area. However, during non-peak hours, there are few places to purchase food or beverages in the international departures area. The Boeing 737-800 aircraft operated the flight on the day was relatively new and equipped with a personal entertainment screen, though the response and speed was average. The flight was moderately occupied, but this allowed me to lie down and sleep in the empty rear section of the economy cabin. The flight was smooth and throughout, with no noticeable turbulence during the cruising. An in-flight meal was adequate with a snack pack provided after 5.5 hours. It felt like a return to the COVID-19 era. After landing, we finally taxied to the international terminal and came to a stop. Brisbane Airport is close to South Pacific Islands, so you can see quite a few niche aircraft from there, such as the A320 for Solomon Airlines next door. The plane landed at a remote parking spot in the international terminal. It took a while to walk from the plane to the duty-free shop and immigration. At Brisbane International Airport, it is not possible to obtain an entry stamp even if you ask for one. The international flight baggage claim area was also very cold that morning. After customs, with a smooth and quick process, I went to the domestic transfer counter on the international arrivals level and rechecked my luggage for the final destination, Melbourne. I took the free shuttle bus to the domestic terminal. After passing through security, I had lunch and then took a nap to rest for a while. Soon after, it was time to board a flight back to Melbourne. The QF633 flight that day was operated by Boeing 737-800 registered as Victor Hotel Victor X-Ray Echo, which was over 22 years old at that time. Both the front and rear doors are used simultaneously during boarding to speed up the process. Although this is an old aircraft, it is equipped with an in-flight Wi-Fi antenna. Although it was the same Boeing 737-800, it was obvious that this aircraft was much older than the one I had flown in that morning. Qantas has made some upgrades to its older aircraft For example, the aircraft has USB ports under the seat, which is great. The reading lights and air conditioning vents on the ceiling are also quite old-fashioned. After a brief stopover in Brisbane, we began the final leg of our Easter trip, flying from Brisbane to Melbourne. After takeoff, the flight attendant came around with a snack combo of biscuits and cheese, and I asked for the apple juice. The festive atmosphere continued on this flight, and chocolate was handed out. Pretty cloudy out there, but the flight was smooth as. With a decent in-flight Wi-Fi to keep me occupied, those 2 hours went by quickly enough. Honestly, it was just like any other domestic hop around Australia. Standard economy seats, the usual snacks, nothing flash. But I'll give them a credit where it is due. Free unlimited Wi-Fi that actually worked properly, plus charging ports that functioned. Can't complain about that. After landing, we parked at Terminal 1 of Melbourne Airport. This is the baggage claim area. Thank you for watching this flight review, which was delayed due to procrastination. I will also update the remaining parts that have not been updated yet.